Let's have a life update, shall we? Hey everyone, how you doing today? My name's Kirsty, and you may remember from a year ago, those that are new to the channel, you probably haven't seen this one, but those that have been around, you may remember this video from last year. Just under 4 weeks ago now, my relationship ended, and it was a complete shock. I'm having really bad dreams. I'm just not sleeping well. Most days I'm stable emotionally, but then I will have a really bad day and that knocks me back. Yeah, it was rough. I went through a very traumatic breakup. It came out of the blue. I'd had no say in anything. He didn't communicate anything with me. He just decided the relationship was over, and yeah, if you want to know the full story, please go and click on that video because I don't really want to have to go through it yet again. But I'm going to start with that, and I want to start with relationships, dating, etc. because I think that's like A, the biggest portion, B, probably the biggest thing that everyone wants the updates on, and C, leads into sort of other updates. So, it was a really rough year. I very much struggled with my mental health. I had periods where I thought I was okay, and then the depression would hit again, and I realised, holy shit, no, I'm not. I got really, really bad. Surprisingly, you would have thought the worst time would have been quite soon after the breakup, but actually, the worst time was about October, November. And what sparked this was I'd been in touch with an old friend who we'd kind of dated before, and we made arrangements to go to Nottingham. We were going to stay there overnight, and then we got to the hotel and I went into massive panic and I just couldn't stay. I didn't even want to stay for dinner or anything. I just wanted to go home, and I had a massive panic attack, and that really triggered me into depression. I then started to feel a little bit better sort of end of November. I reached out to a different person and we started off just chatting, and then we discussed maybe upgrading our hanging out to let's go on a date. And again, I started to get very anxious, very panicky, and I was starting to really struggle with that. I then also worked out that it wasn't going to work for various reasons. Even though we have a lot of things in similar and stuff, just won't work. I then tried some online dating throughout the year, and the first time a woman emailed me and was like, hey, I really like you, I was like, instant shut down, panic, can't do this, sweating, wanting to vomit. I've since realised I think that is where the biggest trauma has come from. I've always had a thing in my head. I didn't have the best relationship with my mother. She quite often put things in my head that nobody would want to be with me, nobody would want to put up with me. And then I always was a little bit worried, and when my own health started to go not great, I was like, oh God, what if no one's ever going to want to be with me? And then I was with Rob, and nearly 5 years, I was happy, I was settled, I was reassured, and I let myself feel safe. And literally, it was only about 3 months before the breakup that I'd finally admitted that I felt safe, and I'm with someone who's going to want to be with me, and if there are any problems, he will tell me. Yeah, he didn't. But that's still the biggest problem that I've got now. And it's like, yes, I might now show an interest in people, and there might be a person that I'm kind of like starting to think, oh, I might like you. But I know that certainly right now I wouldn't want to reach out to anyone because if someone reaches out to me, that's a bit different, but I don't want to be the one to make the first move at the moment. I think because I'm just so scared of that rejection. And, Rob has broken one of my biggest foundations that I spent years building, and that's now back at brick one again. And that foundation was that idea that nobody's going to want me, nobody's going to want to put up with me. I convinced myself that I'm very high maintenance and very demanding. I've since realised that actually no, he was just an incompetent nincompoop who had the emotional maturity of a teaspoon. I realised, yeah, sometimes, like, I'm very turbulent to be around because I don't know how to regulate my emotions. I'm getting there, but I would still struggle. But I've realised that actually, no, it wasn't entirely me, shall we say. Whereas I was telling myself, oh, it's completely you, like, and no one's going to ever want to, like, I don't want to deal with my health and my mental health and my problems. Why is somebody else going to want to deal with it? So I still have got very much of a mental block with that. I think if someone expresses interest to me and is like, hey, I really like you, I can then be a bit more open and honest about it and be like, yeah, look, but the idea of going to someone, going, hey, I like you, and then having to admit all of these problems that I've got and admitting all the faults, it's really, really hard finding someone who will be okay with everything. And that's why at the moment I just don't even want to consider dating. Like, if someone comes along, and there have been a couple of people in the last few months where I've been like, actually, I kind of would like it to go there. And as I said, with one of them, it ended in a panic attack. Another one, it ended up me realising that actually we're just a bit too different. And then currently there's someone who I'm like, but it's way too early, way too soon to do anything. I'm just kind of enjoying talking. So that's fine. But it's just, yeah, that's definitely still my biggest thing that I'm struggling with is panic and feelings of inferiority and being unlovable in terms of a relationship, because I know I'm a lovable person. I know people do love me, but after a while you start to listen and agree. Anyway, that's all the update on that side of things. I'm also happy to say that I am very much over Rob. I do still talk about him occasionally. I now can say his name without wanting to die or without feeling like I've just been punched in the stomach. I used to fall asleep and constantly replay those final days and moments in my head, and it used to get me really upset, and it used to make me have really bad dreams and I wasn't sleeping. All of that's been resolved. I'm okay. And I even saw a photo of him at Christmas out on a walk with his family, and I was like, wow, I'm not even remotely like, he looked like his dad, to be honest. And if I'm being honest, he didn't look good. And I was like, well, I feel the best I've felt in years in terms of like my physical body and how I'm feeling spiritually right now. And he just looked a bit of a mess. So I was kind of like, do you know what? I'm over you. You mean nothing to me anymore. Go away, you little flea. So yeah, I'm kind of now entering, as I've been saying to people, last year was survival. I went into crisis mode. I was then just trying to survive, and I went into self-preservation mode. This year is rebuilding. It's why every time I film, she does cute things. Hi. Hi, baby. Every time. But now I've entered self-discovery. I've entered repair, recover, reconnect, re-empowerment. And that's the zone that I'm now working on, and that's what I want to go towards. And I am really, really happy that I've reached that point. I am getting on really well with my reading, my writing, my journaling. I'm starting to get to the point now where I want to do artwork again, because that was one of my huge blocks. Was every time I sat down to do art, I used to have panic attacks because it reminded me of him. Whereas now it's become a more freeing thing again. I'm starting to do like little painting exercises and things to get me back into it. And, I'm just feeling like I'm in a much more stable environment. I've realised I'm actually quite happy where I live now. At first, when I got here, it was all those feelings of like being trapped and having no choice but to be here. Whereas now I'm like, actually, I have my own bedroom, I have a work room, I have the live, and it all works out really well. I've been able to grow my business from living here. I have this adorable little idiot that's currently rubbing against my arm as I'm trying to talk and getting in the way. The only sort of downside I've got still living here is I still haven't really met anyone in terms of like friends. It would be nice if I had more of my online bookish friends living in Birmingham or in the Midlands, but most of them live further away than that, which is kind of frustrating. It is also very difficult trying to get work, especially teaching jobs. There is nothing here really that I can apply for. And so I am struggling with work, and that's about the only sort of downer that I've got at the moment, is trying to get finances, trying to find a job that I can do physically and emotionally and mentally, because that's a bit of a headbutty thing with certain people where they just don't seem to understand that I can't just go and work in a warehouse 5 days a week and be on my feet for 40 hours a week. I can't do that. I physically would not cope with that, but they just don't get it. So that's a bit of a contention. But on another plus, I've been approached by a friend to be paid to edit videos for them. I've still got the candle business over Christmas. That did amazingly well. That is something that I'm hoping to build on this year. I've also started to contact multiple publishers to see if they would be interested in my services, because now that I've had my items feature in Paper Orange, and I also am doing a 60 candle order for the publisher Bonnier Books, who are also Hotkey Press. I'm doing work for them at the moment, and I want to continue doing that with other publishers as well. So I've been reaching out to quite a few, and that's been really exciting, and I really want to continue. I have so many business ideas. I now just want to get some funding in to do it. And that's all because I've been here and I've been able to do all that. But yeah, I am feeling so much better. I'm working on myself mentally. I'm reaching out to people when I'm struggling. I'm finding that I feel more motivated to do things again. And I'm actually finding that I'm spending less time on things like my video games and stuff like that, because those tend to be what I disappear into when my mental health is really, really bad. And so even though I'm still enjoying them, I'm just not playing them as excessively anymore. And I feel motivated. I wake up every morning now, I read for a little bit, I think about what I want to do for the day, I set myself some intentions. Doesn't always work out. Like today, I had intentions to do a load of emails, and instead I'm playing video games. I'm reading books, and I'm now watching sprints that have been going on for a couple of hours. So yeah, you know, it's not always going to be perfect. But in general, I would say I definitely feel really, really good about things. I do still have intentions to move this year. I would love to apply for the Japanese teaching program. I was going to apply last year, but I didn't have enough money to do it. So this year, absolutely saving up, and I will either be applying for that or I'm looking at moving. I do still have Scotland on the list. It's still my dream. I'm also considering maybe moving further into Birmingham, like actually into the city. I'm also looking at possibly Sheffield, because there I'm worried about, because I literally do not know anybody in Sheffield, but there's more publishing jobs. I could also look at London, but I don't want to pay London rates. I don't like London all that much. It's okay to visit, wouldn't want to live there. So London is out for that. I've just realised it's starting to get a bit darker, so I need to like hurry this up. It's been a very long, very hard, very up and down year. But I can say with complete honesty that since that last video, I feel like I've also rediscovered myself. I've worked out what my biggest strengths are. I'm leaning into them more. I am more open about when I'm not okay. I actually will go and say to my uncle, I'm not okay, I need a hug and things. Or I will reach out to people and be like, I'm not doing great. I now know who my real friends are. And some of those people have genuinely just kept me going. I've worked out the people who aren't worth my time anymore, and I've gradually been weeding them out, because I'm like, well, if you're not going to be there for me when I've always been there for you, I don't really want you in my life. It's so empowering to realise that, because I've always been brought up that that's selfish of me. That, you know, it doesn't matter if no one ever reciprocates. You always have to be the friend. You always have to be there, otherwise you're not a good person. It's been, again, ingrained into me that I must always be the one that puts out, and now it's like I don't always have to be the one to put the energy in, and it doesn't always matter if they don't reciprocate. It doesn't mean that they don't care. And since learning that, there's a difference though between learning that and having friends that do genuinely just ignore you and only talk to you when it benefits them. That's a big difference. And yeah, I just feel like I've entered my stage of empowerment. and things are good. I'm really enjoying how things are going. And like I said, all I need to do now, a little bit more money to save up for housing and moving, and I'm flying high, good to go. Anyway, I've rambled on for a while. I did just want to give those updates and let you know that personally I'm doing good. Love life and romance is still a bit traumatic and I'm still working on that. But mentally, I'm good. Physically, I have lost a bit of weight. I'm feeling good. I'm exercising more. I just feel more myself again. I'm feeling motivated to learn my languages again, to do art. My business is going well and has been building steadily. My friendship groups are getting better. I'm learning to get rid of that toxicity from my life, and not just in the form of people who don't treat me as a friend, but also in myself, and to remove my own toxicity and learn that, okay, these are behaviours I've got that are problematic. Let's try and work on those. And yeah, I feel like I've entered my hero era. Last year was survival. This year is rebuilding and just getting those foundations back up and running so that I'm ready to become the most powerful person I can be. So yeah, manifesting amazing things for this year, not just for myself, but also for any of you. If you had a rough year last year, I'm manifesting so hard for you that things go better for you and you go out there and you get the things. I'm not going to tell you that I've got all these goals and dreams that I'm going to get. Literally, the only goal or the only big dream I've got this year is to get my own place. That is it. And even then, I'm not putting the pressure on myself to do it. If I'm still here in 2 years, I'm still here in 2 years. I'm not beating myself up over it anymore. So yeah, things are optimistic. I'm not going to say they're good, but they are optimistic. They're getting good, and I'm hoping and praying that it continues on that trajectory. Anyway, I'm going to go. Thank you all so much for being here over the last year, whether or not you've been here for personal content, for bookish content, whatever reason you've been here and stuck around. I am so grateful and appreciative. I hope you stick around for the next year. I probably won't keep doing these updates. I did just want to do like a, 1 year on from that video and just show that things are doing better. I may do some more check-ins. Let me know if that is something you'd be interested in. They won't be as long as this, I promise. But if you did want to do sort of quarterly check-ins, just see how my goals are going, how things are, then I'm more than happy to do those. If it helps you to do check-ins yourself, let me know, because that'd be also great to hear. And yeah, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe, and love you loads. And I'll speak to you on the next video. Bye.